All right. Welcome back to the channel. Bonsai here. We went and watched The Northman today, and we're gonna do a little review and discuss. I think that's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Review and discuss.
What else do you call it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fucking movie reviewer like some of these people who are professional reviewers and stuff.
Nah, some of them guys just are insane when they do it, though.
I watch Jeremy Johns, and I like his reviews.
Yeah.
And there's a couple more that I watch.
I like the way he does his. I just like the way he rates them.
Yeah, he rates them. It rates them in a very simple manner.
Yeah.
Like no alcohol required, shit like that.
I disagree. Alcohol optional.
It's always optional. So we went and watched The Northman today, and I will just read off a short synopsis of the movie, who's in it, who directs it, all that good stuff. You know how this works. I'm sure this isn't the first review you've ever seen. So the story is as Prince Amelith, which is played by Alexander Skarsgård, is on the verge of becoming a man who, when his father, played by Ethan Hawke, he's played by Ethan Hawke, is brutally murdered by his uncle, who is Mark Huffman, or no, hold on a second, that's not him. Who is the guy that plays his uncle? Hold on, let me find him here. Oh, it's I can't even remember. I can't even pronounce it. Claes Bang. Claes Bang.
Fieldnear.
Yeah. Well, he's played. His name is Fieldnear in the movie. Is brutally murdered by his uncle, who kidnaps the boy's mother, who's played by Nicole Kidman. 2 decades later, Amelith is now a Viking who's on a mission to save his mother, kill his uncle, and avenge his father.
Hold up. Explain this to me.
What's up?
How is it we have Rotten Tomatoes? This is what we're
Currently
looking for synopsis and
No, we're not going to give anything away yet.
No.
This is spoiler-free
No,
zone right
this
now.
isn't a spoiler. How the hell do they know it's 2 decades later? All the fucking movie showed was many years later. What the hell does that mean?
It doesn't even say many years. It says something like some years later.
Some years later. That's what it was.
Shit.
Some years later.
There's something stupid like that. I was like, because I even remember saying it to you. I was like, they don't even say how many years go by, which is kind of.
I roughly guessed it was probably about 10 to 15.
That's what I'm guessing. Honestly, I kind of know it had to have been more than that because the dude's
like
kid
12.
was the dude's baby. Was just a baby, and then you saw him as a grown-up man. So it had to have been at least 20 years.
It had to be close to 20. So yeah, had to be at least 2 decades.
But anyway, the movie's directed by Robert Eggers. If you've seen The Lighthouse or The Witch, which also has Anya Taylor-Joy in it, who's also in this movie. I gotta tell you, there's a couple performances in this movie that really are just fucking fantastic. Like Nicole Kidman, usually for her, I feel like she's just kind of riding the Hollywood wave at this point, kind of just taking whatever. Dude, she kills it in this movie.
Yes.
She killed it. Like, she was, I mean, for the first half of the movie, you're like, yeah, whatever, you know what I mean? But towards the end there, you're like, holy shit, she's acting her face off. And then, obviously, Alexander Skarsgård was great. If you know him from, he was in Tarzan, that live-action movie. He was in True Blood, if you've ever seen True Blood. He's been in all kinds of stuff. He's got a couple of brothers that act. Bill Skarsgård, who plays Pennywise in the It series, or in the It movies. And his brother, who also, oddly enough, played a Viking in his older brother, I think it's his older brother, I would assume, who plays Loki in the Viking show that was on Discovery, or it was on History, sorry. It was on the History Channel. So, and then obviously they have a father who acts, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but, and then there's Ethan Hawke, who plays the father. I don't know. The movie itself, dude, the visuals in this movie were awesome.
Yeah.
The visuals, I gotta give credit where credit's due with the camera work, the lighting, the visual effects. There's just so much going on here, dude. There's a lot to this story too. If you haven't gathered, it's pretty much a Hamlet story, but it's also a story from Norse mythology.
Yes.
Well, I wouldn't say
Kinda.
mythology. It's from
Very
history,
loosely.
Norse history or whatever.
It's very loose. So the problem with anything Norse related is the only thing we have is basically hand-me-down stories.
Yeah. We only recently just found out that women were in battle.
Yeah. So
And
that
they
came
called
out,
them shield maidens.
So the whole shield maiden thing, that was about 6 months ago, roughly. 6-7 months ago is when that was like when it kind of became official. Like it's always been in stories of shield maidens, but we had assumed that it was more of like a support role.
Yeah.
Where now we're finding out
they were fucking people up too.
So the big issue that with Norse stories and Norse mythology and history is it was decimated by basically the Christians, and they just wiped.
And they mentioned that
out.
in this movie too.
Excuse me. They wiped a lot of things out. So it makes it very hard to get like good in-depth stories. So I mean, they did a really good job as far as the story goes.
This movie takes place in 895 AD.
895.
I'm pretty sure that was the year. It was 895 AD. Let me look it up real quick here.
I'm pretty sure that's what it said.
Yeah, 895 AD.
Excuse me.
Yep. Yeah, because if you go to their Wikipedia page, there's a lot about this movie.
Yeah.
That's put into this movie. Oh, I forgot. It's got William Dafoe. I forgot about him, dude.
Who was amazing.
Who was awesome.
For the very short time he was.
Yeah, he's not in it a lot, but when he is in there, I mean,
he played that character.
But that's
amazing,
dude. You can't hand William Dafoe a role and he not do amazing.
Especially a role like that.
Yeah.
Psychotic.
Yeah, crazy ass.
Crazy.
What was
amazing.
he? What was his name? Where is he at? Willem Dafoe.
Right there.
Oh, Hymir the Fool.
Yeah.
He's pretty much their court jester, but he's also like, kind of like, what do they call them? He's like almost like your medicine man.
Yeah, he's a shaman.
A shaman, exactly. A shaman. And then later on, you find out they call them he witches, like a he witch, essentially. But he did great. Everybody in the movie, I mean, they all gave 110%. I gotta say.
Hang on. How did I miss that?
What's that? Nicole Kidman?
Half-Thor.
Who?
Half-Thor.
Half?
Jorgensen.
Oh yeah, Jorgensen. Yeah, he was the guy out on the field.
How the hell did I miss that?
I honestly I knew he was in the movie. I just forgot about it, and then I didn't realize it till after it was over. And I was like, "Holy shit, that was him on the field." He's the one who knocked the kid down on the field, and he was the last one on the field with. Yeah, well, I don't want to give too much away, but
shit, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah. So
probably wasn't. I was too ingrained in what was going on.
Yeah, we'll get there. Don't worry. We're gonna go through. We're gonna dissect the movie.
Sorry, as we're flipping through this, I'm seeing names.
You're
going,
seeing
what?
names that you're like, what the fuck? But I mean, some of these people were so deep in like character and makeup that you wouldn't even know who it was. Like I just realized that the guy who played the uncle, pretty sure I remember him in
Fjolnir?
I'm pretty sure he was in that vampire in the Dracula series that was on Netflix, which was by the way awesome. Let me check his.
Claes Bang?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure he's English.
Klaus?
Either English or
Klaus?
British.
Klaus?
Let's see
I don't
here.
know how you pronounce that.
Let me find him. I'm almost positive that's him. Yep, that's him. Yeah, he played Dracula.
Yep, yeah, he played. What the hell movie was that?
What? This? The Square?
No.
I don't know what these are.
What was that called when he played Dracula?
It was just called Dracula.
Was it called Dracula?
Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking
It was a 3-part Netflix miniseries.
Yeah, it was a miniseries.
And it was good. The last episode kind of killed it for me, but the first two were awesome. Especially the first episode. The first episode was like this awesome like period piece.
He's Danish.
Oh, Danish, is he?
That explains.
Well, you gotta understand. I'm pretty sure like Alexander Skarsgård and all them. He's Swedish, I believe.
Yeah.
So I'm almost positive he's Swedish.
Or Icelandic.
What the fuck is this? He's not even wearing any pants in this one.
Oh yeah, there's a story behind that. I don't remember what it is. It's Sweden, Stockholm.
Yeah.
There's a story on the whole pantless thing. I don't remember what it is. I read it earlier though. I started laughing.
He's a handsome dude, though, man. Tall, handsome, yeah. I've always liked Alexander Skarsgård, though. I loved him in True Blood too. So, but anyway, so I gotta say the movie was well directed. The gore isn't over the top, which is a good thing. They keep it pretty grounded.
Yeah.
But there is some mystical stuff in the movie, which is pretty cool. They kind of add that in, sprinkle it in a little bit to make you think, was that real, or were they imagining it? That kind of thing, and they never fully answer that. Like, I like to think it was real, because this is kind of based off of, a certain mythology. So.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, this is one of my gripes about it. Overall, I would definitely watch it again. Like, it was a good movie. But
very rewatchable for me.
One of my gripes is there's a lot of things where you almost have to be very well versed into Norse.
Yeah, and we found that out. We quickly realized that, because there were some things about the movie like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, that if you don't know, you're like, what the hell is going on? Like Berserker. Okay, if you don't understand that, Berserkers would literally the reason, like, we're now learning this, the reason that they were so in depth or entailed on the battlefield to the point that they were basically fearless. They literally would just get high as shit the night before on some.
And I want to touch on that too.
Yeah,
because there's.
No, they did touch on that.
Well, I want to touch on that about not during the battle, but after the battle and stuff like that. And we'll get there. I don't want to give too much away before we get to the spoiler part. But I would say that this is definitely a movie that it was not made for women. No. Not made for women. It was definitely made for men.
Yes.
Because this is a very testosterone-fueled movie with shirtless men fucking up shirtless men. It's bloody at times. Is there a little bit of romance? Yes, which is okay, because they do it in a very good, not so tacky way.
Yeah.
But it's the story of Hamlet. If you know the story of Hamlet, you know essentially the basic points, the basic main points of the movie. So it's a good movie, and it's gritty. It's honestly, there were parts that in the movie that were like, I was just like, that's fucking badass. You know what I mean? And I loved it. You know what I mean? They give some good stuff away in the trailer, like that whole part where they siege the town.
Yeah.
But that's a huge point of the movie. So you're not seeing everything that's happening in the trailer at that point. Let's see here. What else is there before we get to the spoilers? I'd say if I had to rate the movie, I mean, we were going to do this anyway. I would have to. I think it's a fucking fantastic movie. If I had to give it, like, I don't know. If I had to give it like a 1 out of 10, fucking, I would probably, I don't know, I'd give it a 9 for me. I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah,
That's up there. There's not many 10s for me.
That's pretty up there.
Yeah. So I thought it was great. I fucking loved it. I was excited for it. I went into the movie excited, and I was not disappointed with it. I was not. I mean, I knew it was going to slow down at certain parts of the movie. I expected that going in, so I wasn't disappointed by it. But other than that, the movie itself did not disappoint me at all. I was not disappointed. I loved it. I was a little skeptical because watching the trailers, I didn't see much blood during the battle scenes. I was like, oh, fuck. Are they going to do this?
No.
But I'm sure those were just Green Band trailers where you're not going to get blood. But yeah, it gets pretty violent at times. So yeah, I'd have to say 9 out of 10. What would you say?
Like 7.5.
7.5. That's still pretty good though.
Yeah. It's like I said. I mean, overall, it was a good movie. And there was just, I just have issues. There was shit that even like.
He doesn't like that certain things weren't explained.
Yeah, there's still things that I'm like, what the fuck was the point of this? Like the fox.
Yeah. All right. So, all right. Well, we're gonna stop right there.
I don't know.
So from here on out, we're gonna have to say we're stepping into spoiler territory because we're gonna start from the beginning and work our way through the movie here. And if you don't want to see or hear anything about the movie, and because you haven't seen it yet because it did just come out this weekend, then you need to stop the video and go watch the fucking movie, or stick around for the spoilers if you're not really interested in watching the movie or you don't care about having the movie spoiled.
I still advise just do both.
Do
Even
what?
if you just listen and then go watch it.
Or yeah, you could do that too. That way, maybe you might learn something
highly
instead of being
recommend still
confused
watching.
going into the movie. Like,
Yeah.
I thought the movie was pretty cut and dry. I thought it was a little more black and white than other people, but I did have a few questions about it. But
Yeah.
so all right,
I
so
have
from here
very
on
few.
out, here on out, this is where we're gonna stop, and this is where like spoilers. We're going into spoiler territory. All right, so all right, we're gonna start from the beginning. All right, from the beginning. It kind of starts out the beginning. Opening scene is on a volcano. This is an actual volcano.
Yes.
In
Iceland.
In Iceland.
Yeah.
And it is actually called the Gates of Hell.
Yes. Yeah. That's
And-
H-E-L.
Yeah, Hel.
Yeah.
But they call it the Gates of Hell. So then it cuts to
That's
some ravens
That's
and
so actually the gates of hell, like hell, is not like the Christian hell. It's like not quite like Freya's or Valhalla, but very similar. It's just another one. There is the like hell, like Christian type hell.
yeah.
But yeah, fun facts. Sorry.
Yeah, but this is an actual volcano in Iceland that, and as the movie progresses, because it starts out on the volcano where it's just kind of smoldering. As the movie progresses, if you notice,
Yeah.
it
It progresses.
progresses in erupting.
Yep.
So by the end of it, and this is jumping right to the end, by the end of it, it's fully erupted, and we'll get to that point because. What's his name? Amleth is his name.
Yeah.
Who's the main character, which is Alexander Skarsgård's character, has been foretold to his final battle would be by a river of fire,
Yeah, river
which
of
would
fire.
be obviously molten lava. And that's how it concludes, but we'll get there. So anyway, it cuts to him and he's waiting on his dad. Dad's coming home from battle. His father comes home. He's excited. Blah blah blah. He walks in on his mom half naked, Nicole Kidman, which you don't see anything. But that shot though with her face, like where it comes in, it was beautifully done. I loved how it was done because like it zooms in. It's on her face, and she's talking to him, and she like corrects him for barging into her room while she's dressing. And then, like, she smiles, and, like, the way she moves away from the camera and the shot was so well done.
It was perfect.
I loved it. It was well done. And that's something you can only get from a good director. And that's Robert Eggers. He's just a fantastic director. He knows how to direct people. So anyway, moving on, his father, who's played by Ethan Hawke, comes home from a battle, along with his brother, who's, I can't remember his name now. What was his name? Let's find it.
Fjolnir.
That's all. Fieldnear, yeah, Fieldnear. And so blah 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 cuts to this and that. He's apparently taken a mortal wound. He said that they took half his liver, and he knew that he was probably going to be dying soon. So he takes his son. They do this ritual with their shaman / fool. Before we get there, though, I want to bring up something. You notice in the main hall, whenever they're all celebrating because he just got home from battle, and his brother comes in, and then the jester or the fool or whatever, who's Willem Dafoe, comes in and like does that, starts picking on his wife, and you notice because you didn't realize this before, but Fieldner stands up for her.
Massive spoiler.
Yeah, massive spoiler. Fieldner stands up and defends her honor.
Yeah, now knowing what we
Now
know.
you know what you know. You're like looking back on it. You're like, holy shit! Like that was kind of like a little side note.
which
there.
was cool, and that's what I liked that aspect. There, like I said, there is very few things where I'm like, oh, that doesn't make any sense still. The only one, and I don't even know if it's important, I just feel like it is because of how many times it kept coming in the shots, was that fox wolf thing.
You're still on that fox thing, man.
Dude, it's the only thing. It doesn't make sense.
You're right. It doesn't.
Because obviously it was important.
You
don't put the same thing into multiple shots.
Right.
Not in a short amount of time either.
I would understand if it was like
3/4 of the movie.
I would understand if it was like a full-grown wolf, because obviously the berserkers.
But it was weird. It had like the tail of a fox, but it didn't look like a fox.
And it was very small
And
though,
it was
like
very
a fox.
small. And at first, I thought maybe it was supposed to represent like Fenrir. But the more I think about it, it doesn't add up.
Yeah.
Fenrir in Norse is this formidable opponent. It is foretold that Fenrir is to kill Odin during Ragnarok. That is how formidable this wolf is.
Right.
He's so formidable that they literally had to go to. It's going to turn into a whole damn like lecture, but literally they tried multiple. I mean, every type of metal and chain they could. And he kept breaking them, and finally they went to the little people.
The dwarves?
Dwarves. Not
Goblins.
That's Harry Potter.
Completely different.
That's
man.
Harry Potter. They go to the dwarfs, and basically Odin says, "I need you to forge me a chain as light as a feather."
And if nobody understands, the reason why he says dwarves is because dwarves were the best forgers
Correct.
known to man, essentially.
Yes.
You might know that if you watch Thor.
Yeah.
Watch Thor.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, Peter Dinklage, he's a dwarf, and he was the man that forged the gauntlet for Thanos, and forged obviously
The Mjolnir.
Mjolnir and the new weapon that Thor has. I don't know what he calls it.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the story.
But so anyway, long story short, finally, the gods go to Fenrir, and basically because they're making it a game, because Fenrir by this point he's on to what's going on, and he says no, because if you put that on me, you'll never take it off. And Tyr says no, we won't. And he said, fine, if that's the case, one of you will put your arm into my mouth, and if you lie to me, I will take your arm. And Tyr, being Tyr, goes, fine. Puts his hand in his mouth, which of course he loses because, well, they were chaining his ass up. But, so I thought at first it was supposed to represent him. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. Like, here you have this guy, you have this guy who's, trying to fight, basically, he promised his father that he would, basically get revenge for his death. But the thing never fucking grew. It always stayed the same size, and it never had anything to do with battle.
Because the fox thing, whatever it is, comes in a little bit later. But anyway, let's get back to that.
Sorry,
So,
it's the only thing that still drives me up a wall. Like, otherwise, everything else, like, I was like, oh, this makes perfect sense.
Right.
That one, prime example. Knowing what I know now, I'm like, because I was like, that's odd that, the uncle, the king's brother would take offense to the jester being the jester.
yeah, that was one of the things where I was like, why is, you know what I mean? But it makes sense later in the movie. You're like, okay.
I highly recommend watching it.
Yeah,
so
watch the
things
movie.
Like this make sense.
But anyway, so all right, so they're doing this whole thing, and then it cuts to later where he wants to take his son to be kind of, I would say, initiated, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's like a ritual thing.
Basically it's like a coming of age ritual.
Right, exactly.
So basically the
what does he
king
feed him? Like some kind of bone broth or something? That's what it looked like.
It's ayahuasca.
What is it?
It's ayahuasca.
The fuck is that?
It's DMT.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Drugs, man.
That's why they started tripping like they did.
Oh yeah, they were tripping balls,
Yeah.
dude. They were down on the ground doing like this dog thing, like, dude. And this is actually one of the funnier moments of the movie, because the father, who's Ethan Hawke, and the son, at the time he was just a little boy, they're down on the ground and they're acting like dogs, howling and you know scurrying around, and the fool gives him both what I thought was bone broth. Apparently, it wasn't.
Yeah, it's some
And
type of
hallucinogen,
yeah.
And
Very common in the berserkers. The berserkers would get super.
and that's kind of where that first started, I think.
Yep.
But it was funny because like he tries to tell them that they are men. Show me that you're a man, and like his dad burps. He like lets out this giant belch, and I was like, all right, that's kind of funny, you know what I mean, whatever. And then the boy is like, show me that you are a man, you are a human, and he fucking just lets off a fart, dude.
Well,
like
it was great because like you could see him like trying to get a burp out,
And
and, then finally he's just like.
he just rips one. And dude, I couldn't help but smile and laugh a little bit at that because it was pretty funny. It was probably the funniest moment of the movie.
I want to see the cut scenes and how many times they had to redo that take right there.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't have kept a straight face.
I think that I don't know. That might have been something they put in after, like in post production.
I don't know. I'd be curious to know though.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Like they're just over there, or if he's actually ripping it.
You're right.
That shit would be funny. Anyway, I'll take all the beans you got. Hold on, I gotta sneeze.
Bless you.
Fuck yeah. Anyway, so moving on. They go into like this whole trippy state. They're like hovering above their own bodies and blah blah blah. And then next scene, you see them coming out of this shaman's hut thing.
Basically the hut. Yeah.
Yeah. And an arrow flies past the boy, hits the son. You saw that part in the trailer. Hits the dad, and they pretty much crucify, or not. They don't crucify him, duh. But they execute his dad right there in front of him, and then Fjolnir, the brother or whatever, says, "Catch the boy, kill the boy."
Yeah.
Which comes into the like one of the more violent parts, which caught me off guard completely.
Yeah.
And where one of the men find him, and he takes a knife out and cuts this dude's nose off.
Yeah.
And that was pretty. I was like, "Fuck yeah, that's sweet as shit." And he comes back later, and then from there it kind of just cuts to he's running through the village trying to hide.
I mean that basically at that point it's kind of like the end of the. I would say like almost like the prequel.
Yeah, it was like it was the end of, I would say, an epilogue. Or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
and then it really cuts into.
It's introducing you a little bit into the world a little bit, and from there, you pretty much follow Amleth through the rest of the movie. It's his story, obviously. Yep. So, but anyway, he's running through the village trying to get away. He's hiding. It's funny to me that he's trying to blend in, but he grabs the most color-fueled fucking blanket there is. It's completely red.
I think it was more just to hide his face.
Yeah, I understand that, but all he's going to do is make himself stand out.
Yeah.
You know, because he's running through this village where half the village is being slaughtered, and you got this kid who throws on this very, very red blanket to try to disguise himself. And I'm like, dude, you couldn't have grabbed like a gray one or something? You know what I mean? Like,
he grabbed the first thing that was available.
He did. I mean, I understand that, but I'm like, god damn, dude, you're gonna stand out like a sore thumb. Because you gotta understand the color scheme of this movie is it's very bleak and dark. And so for him to grab a bright red fucking, and I'm sure it has some kind of meaning.
It was very. I mean, as far as that goes, I mean that was very historically accurate.
Well, I'm saying, like, I bet it was. I'm sure there was some kind of meaning behind that red blanket.
Red Robin Hood, Rider, Little Red. The hell was that? You know, one little piggy went to market, huff and puff.
The Little Red Riding Hood. God damn! Did you eat some of that bone soup? That bone stew?
Nope, not yet.
Not yet. So, but anyway, so from there we kind of you see his mother still alive. They're carrying her through the street. What appears to be, apparently she's screaming and whatnot. That comes back later. And then from there he escapes, and it cuts to him as a man. He's apparently it doesn't even like show any training, nothing like that. It goes straight from him as a boy to him as a berserker.
Yep.
And it goes straight into him in like this ritual that they do before battle, and they're all getting pumped up in what they would say putting on their animal skin or whatever.
Yeah.
So essentially, whenever they go into berserker mode, they're more animalistic. Their senses are heightened and things like that. And it makes sense because they're going into evade, and you see this in the trailer. He catches a spear midair and throws it back and nails that
Which,
guy
by the way,
right
was
off the.
fucking awesome.
Still awesome, even though it was in the trailer. If they could have just left that part out of the trailer and surprised me with it, it would have been so much better.
Yeah. Totally
So,
awesome.
and that whole scene, and this is where it goes into the scene with him. They go in and just slaughter this whole fucking village, and what it is they're actually taking slaves for kingdoms. They're almost like mercenaries.
Yeah, that's basically what they were. And historically speaking,
I wouldn't even say good mercenaries either. They're more like bad ones. They're just hire for pay or whatever. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, they're basically
paid killers.
paid killers. Yeah. So I mean, historically speaking, which they did an amazing job on the historical aspect. I know they brought in a lot of different people to make sure things were historically accurate and that to the best of what they could.
While still trying to make a good movie.
Yeah, but they didn't try to go off the rails and be like, oh no, this is what happened, and it's like, well, that didn't come about for another 80 years. Instead, it was
I hate that shit too.
Very historically accurate.
Well, that's the thing.
Weaponry was
That's
very
the thing with
historical.
Vikings. They moved that show. They progressed that show too quickly because there were certain things that happened in the show that were spread out across hundreds of years.
Correct.
Like them invading, I think, France and shit like that.
Correct.
That wasn't during Ragnar's time as ruler and shit. So yeah, so they took a lot of liberties, which I heard that show is still pretty accurate. They just kind of took some liberties with the timelines and shit.
Yes.
So, but anyway,
I mean, overall, historically speaking, it was really, really accurate. Their weaponry was super accurate. I love the fact that they used old Futhgar for the actual runes.
What is it?
Old Futhgar? It's the runes.
The runes?
Yeah, so you know how when they would do different cutscenes, you would have the runes?
Oh, yeah.
So there's old and new. They actually used all the old.
That's cool.
Which is super, again, historically accurate.
Yeah, that's good. And that's the thing about Robert Eggers is I think that he, I don't think he would do it if it wasn't accurate.
Right. Correct.
Like if you've ever seen his other movies, I've never seen The Lighthouse, which I've been telling myself I need to watch. But I have seen The Witch, and if you watch that movie, he goes in, like that whole set, their whole village and everything, their whole or their house and everything, all that was built.
Yeah.
And it was built accurately. So if you watch that and just some of the things about that movie, it's very gritty. It's very old school. It takes you back. It's very much a period piece. I'm sure walking onto that set, it was like walking back into, the early 1800s again, or whatever time period that movie took place. I'm pretty sure it was the early 1800s, or back whenever America was still new, I would say.
Yeah.
It was back during that whole Salem witch thing and everything. Actually, it was probably even before that, honestly. I couldn't even tell you. It's been so long since I've seen that movie. But with this movie, you can tell he definitely, because you got to understand, this movie isn't just his project, but it's also a passion project for Alexander Skarsgård. He really wanted to get in. He's been talking about doing a Viking movie for years. He's Swedish, obviously. He's, you know what I mean? Like,
well, I'm sure for him. For a lot of them, it's wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Family, their history and stuff.
Oh yeah, for the Skarsgårds themselves, yeah. I'm sure that it's a big deal for all of them. Like I said, his older brother, I believe, I think it's his older brother. I know it's his brother. I just don't know if he's older. Was in Vikings. So, but anyway, moving on. So from there, they take over this village, and this is what I was trying to talk about with the berserkers. You notice, like, they go into this animalistic, like, sense of euphoria. You know what I mean? I'm sure it has something to do with drugs and things like that. And then they go into, like, their senses are heightened. They can't really feel a lot of pain. But when they come down from that after the battle, they show a scene of just all of them grouped up together, kind of sulking their wounds. You can tell they're in miserable pain. and they're wore out, and because that's worn off, and it's almost like they've shed that wolf like skin,
Yeah.
like that berserker skin, and now they're and it's so funny because like it goes back to they're almost like werewolves
Yeah.
licking their wounds after a night of hell. You know what I mean? And it's so funny because there's a lot of like references to that, like the zombie-ish thing that the zombie-ish thing that he gets the sword from
Yeah.
is actually an early version of a vampire.
Yep.
That's why he was avoiding the moonlight.
Yeah.
That's actually an early version. I didn't know that until after I watched it. I looked it up, like, oh fuck. They're like, yeah, this is like they're an early version of what we would have considered a vampire.
Yeah.
And that's why he can only pull the sword out, which, by the way, is an awesome little add in there for the movie. I thought that was like one of the cooler aspects. He can only unsheath the sword at night. He can, as soon as the dawn starts, that the sword will not come out of the sheath. The only question I had is, what if he already had it unsheathed and the sun came out?
Well, so if you remember what they said, it was said that if he were to unsheath it outside of night, it would open the gates of hell.
Okay.
Because then, if you remember towards the end, what time was it?
It was near dawn, wasn't it? Yeah, it was near dawn.
Yeah. But it was still daylight. Near dusk.
Oh, but he was at the gates of hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
So again, like super cool. Like
yeah,
they
good
did a
little
really
thing
good job
there,
of keeping things like very, very, very much in order of.
That's
how,
pretty cool though, and the sword itself is pretty badass. And he fucks people up with that sword, man. So anyway, so essentially from there, it's after this whole berserker thing. They took over this village, blah blah blah. They capture some slaves. One of them being Anya Taylor-Joy. Her character, I can't remember her name, but
the Valkyrie.
What?
The Valkyrie.
We're not there yet. Oh, you're talking about the girl that rides through on the horse. They say that some people believe that which one? Who? Anya Taylor-Joy or the one on the Anya Taylor-Joy, the one that he falls in love with.
Yeah, the one he falls in love with.
She's not. Well, she's not really a Valkyrie, but they say. But the woman that rides through on the horse, they say she has a weird similarity to the Valkyrie that you see later on, the one that rides through on the horse. Mm-hmm. Some people were wondering if that was the Valkyrie riding through to pick out the strongest of.
She's gorgeous.
Anya Taylor-Joy?
Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Amazing actress.
Oh yeah, she's been in all kinds of stuff. You don't know who she is. She was in The Witch, obviously. She was also in the Split movie from M. Night Shyamalan. She was in the New Mutants movie. She plays in The Queen's Gambit on Netflix. That's her. She's been in a bunch of stuff, man. She's like one of them big up-and-coming actresses, and she's not someone... Yeah, she's a very good actress. Very, very good actress. And then... But anyway, so after that, they get into their slave trading. Well, he's wandering around for whatever reason at night, stumbles into this old rundown house where he sees a seer, what they call a seer, and who's played by Bjork, which is, I think, I don't remember what country she's from, but she actually used to be a pop singer. She was a pop singer, but she's done a lot of acting too. So, and she's a very odd person, Bjork is. She's very odd. But she plays the role very well of the seer, and she tells him essentially that he's lost his way and forgotten his path. And he reminds himself, because this is what he's been saying since the beginning, is he says, "I will avenge you, father. I will save you, mother, and I will kill you, Fjolnir." So, and he repeats that over and over to himself. Well, he finally does.
Where do we leave off?
Bjork.
Bjork. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, sorry, we had some audio issues. Apparently, I had some
echo effects
going on, and
only on his mic, and nobody realized it.
Yeah, and I was doing all the talking, so it's a whole lot of that for 30 minutes. I'm sorry.
We really need headphones.
No shit, man. I'm telling you, so we can hear ourselves. Bjork. Yes. Okay. Bjork reminds him of his path to avenge his father. save his mother and kill his uncle. So that's where we left off. Now, so from there he kind of like dips out of his berserker duties.
Yeah.
And chops all his hair off and jumps on this ship with all the slaves and poses as a slave. Even brands himself as a slave. And he fits right in, meets Anya Taylor-Joy right there on the ship. And from there, they pretty much ally up and to try to, like, she wants out and he wants to kill his uncle. So they agree to help each other. So from there, they kind of start to build a little bit of a relationship. Not really super romantic at first. Like at first, it's just his only mindset is vengeance. But he starts out by, goddamn, where did we go from here? Because they spent a lot of time. Because he finds out what happens was his uncle had killed his father, took over the kingdom, and then lost the kingdom to another king, and then became a farmer.
Yep.
And then started taking on these slaves, kind of started his own kind of like little community of his own, him and what you find out to be Amlis.
Don't give the spoiler.
What?
Nah.
This is spoiler territory, man.
Nah, it's too much of a spoiler.
You
It
think?
ruins the whole plot of the movie.
Well, that's the point.
That's the biggest turning point of the whole movie, though. Nah, don't give that one away.
That is true. I should let you.
You
find
find out
later.
that
I think we should stop there.
Yeah.
You know, like we're not going to give too much away with this
we're
part of the movie.
We're at the point.
You're getting
where
to the
it's
point
like,
of the movie where like shit gets like
the good parts of the movie.
the good parts of the movie start coming in,
Yeah.
and like the whole part with he gets his sword. We can kind of talk about the sword and how he
Yeah.
gets that, but we don't want to give too much of the plot away with like his uncle and things of that sort, or what happened to his mom, or anything like that.
Yeah.
So we're gonna stay away from that territory because yes, this is spoiler territory, but dude, that's like getting into like massive plot points of the movie that like
Too much.
they're major turning points for the movie. So, but anyway, so he ends up talking to a man. They call him a she-witch, or a he-witch. I'm sorry, a he-witch, and he essentially took the place of the fool and things of that sort. So, and then he tells him where to get the sword, how to get the sword. He goes and gets the sword, and that battle scene, there was pretty badass. It was so
awesome.
cool. It was well lit. It was, I don't know, it was just very well done, and I really enjoyed that part. And then it gets into from there, he's got this badass sword that he can only unsheath at night, which is convenient because he only kills people at night.
Yes.
But he pretty much has this whole plan set up where he's like, you know, he doesn't want to kill his uncle right away. He wants to kind of torture him and his people, and he does just that, dude.
Yeah.
Like, he does some like shit that you're like, holy fuck, that's awesome. Like he makes all the dogs and wolves go nuts by howling, and this is where that fucking fox thing comes in.
Yeah.
He's like howling with this thing, and his uncle's own dog tries to attack him, so he has to put down his own dog.
Yep.
Along with a bunch of other dogs
And then they turn around and eat.
Yeah, then they turn around and eat the fucking thing.
Super weird.
Which is awesome because later on, the guy whose nose he cut off, he comes back. He's in it through a good part of the movie.
Yeah.
But the way he kills this guy, he takes that sword and shoves it through because he doesn't have a nose anymore. The cartilage, he essentially cut the cartilage off of his face. And he shoved that sword right through his nose. And it's so funny because whenever you first see the dude, whenever he comes off the ship, out of the water, the first shot is of that guy without the nose. And he, like, turns around and, like, shoots snot out of his nose. And I was like, that is fucking gross and awesome at the same time.
Right.
It was so funny. That dude just got fucked all around, man. He's just like, I was just doing what I was told. I lost my nose. I can't smell shit. You know what it's like to not smell anything?
Back then, probably not bad.
I was going to say, probably back then, it's probably not a bad thing. Like, fuck, I'm glad I don't smell it. You guys stink.
No, I mean, that was what I liked. I mean, that was one of my favorite things, though, was there was so much mystery. Like, there was so much mystery in the movie when it wasn't a mystery movie.
Yeah.
Because you never knew what was going to be around the corner, what you didn't realize, and you start to piece things together. But then there's like a couple mysteries that I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I know this thing. There's something importance of this fox.
Yeah. Maybe maybe we can look it up and see what exactly, if we can find out what the point of that fox was, because the more you talk about it, the more it drives me nuts. I'm like, God damn
right,
it.
like
So,
there's obviously something about it.
get the fuck off. What's this? Okay, so we'll go to Google, see if Google knows anything. What was the fox, I guess?
Yeah,
In
the Northman.
the north. I don't
Wait.
What?
Right there, focus features. There's something about, for a woman, it was often a sea creature.
No.
Wait a minute.
What's that?
Oh, I get it now. It's not a fox. It's not a fox. It's a beowulf.
I think he says that.
I bet so, and I didn't catch
And
it.
I told you he said it's like a spirit animal.
Yeah, now it makes more sense.
I said that too. I was like, well, it's like a spirit animal of some kind. So it's a beowulf.
It's a beowulf.
The fuck is
it's
a
wolf
beowulf?
bear.
A wolf. That does make sense.
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna look this guy up. I gotta see what this guy looks
now
like.
everything that I was pissed
How do you
about.
spell that?
Beowolf. Or Beowulf, probably.
Like Beowulf.
Yeah.
Okay.
Type in Norse behind it.
There we go.
Oh, I'm so pissed I didn't realize that. Beowulf.
You gonna show me a picture? Let's go to fucking pictures. Okay. That's Beowulf. I don't care about Beowulf.
Yeah, basically it's like a half bear, half wolf. And it's kind of like a spirit animal. Now it makes so much more sense on why it was so important in the movie. Even though it really didn't do anything. It was just
It kind of guided him in certain, like the
Yeah.
whole dog thing and
Yep.
stuff like that. With him howling, that made sense.
Yeah.
Because I think they actually say Beowulf or whatever.
they
They did say it. I think I forgot about that. But yeah, it's a, like, you don't really see it other than at night.
Yeah.
Whenever you see it, it's kind of like, it looks like a large fox. It's like the size of a fox, but it's a lot stockier, I would say. It's not as lean.
Yeah.
And it's got a big bushy tail.
Very unfox.
Yeah.
Bushy tail. And the facial was more bearish.
Yeah, it wasn't so much a fox.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was the
Now
size, but it was small like a fox.
That makes sense. I'm no longer pissed about it.
Yeah, because, okay, that does make sense. Like, he's essentially a spirit animal, I suppose.
Yeah.
Okay, so we cleared that up because it was driving him nuts.
Yes.
So there's that, and then there's yeah. So what else is there after that? So essentially he's driving his uncle mad. Blah blah blah. We don't want to get into too much of it. But I'm going to tell you, we're going to go ahead and skip to an area where, well, no, I don't even want to say that. What happens with Anya Taylor-Joy and that whole,
Yeah.
you know, there towards the end. I don't want to say too much about that. I'm just going to say from there, I'm not going to give too much away. But I will say that the visuals for that final fight scene, man, between him
amazing.
and his uncle were fucking fantastic. That was.
Well, let's just let's set the scene so they have an idea of like the visuals.
So
it starts,
they're completely naked.
Yeah. So one, yeah,
For some reason, don't ask me why. They're fucking naked.
somehow they want to basically butt ass naked.
Yeah.
But what was cool is, so as we alluded to at the beginning, we were talking about the volcano,
Mm-hmm.
and it erupts, and so they wind up in this fight scene, and so you have flowing rivers of lava, just absolutely, gorgeous. The visuals are gorgeous. I'm assuming the flow was taken actual footage, and then they.
I don't know. You'd be surprised what they can do with CGI nowadays. But I don't know. But then again, knowing Robert Eggers, I could see him doing something more.
There's so many active volcanoes that they could have went to.
That's true. And I'm going to say with him, he's going to be like, yeah, because I'm thinking he's more of a like, I want to do this very accurately and very naturally, as little CGI as possible. He's very much about doing shit realistically.
Yeah. But
and I like that about him. It makes for a good director.
Yeah. But it's just, like I said, I mean, just absolutely, just that final scene, the visuals, just unbelievable.
Because a lot of it, you don't really see them. You see a lot. You see their silhouette. You can vaguely see them.
Yeah.
But just the whole setup, like there's lava. It's a very red and smoky setup. There's ash and embers flying through the air. And just their battle is just fan-fucking-tastic. And for whatever reason, they're butt-ass naked. You don't see anything. They don't show anything like that. So it's not. And honestly,
I mean, the only two
for a Vikings movie, dude. There is like next to no nudity or anything in this movie.
There's what, 2 scenes probably total that you see anything.
I don't even think that you really see anything.
Well, so you see his ass.
Yeah, but that's, whatever.
And then you see Anya Taylor-Green's ass.
Anya Taylor-Joy.
Or Anya Taylor-Joy.
Well, you see the... Oh, yeah, I guess you do see her ass in the one scene. Yeah, I got a whole shot of her ass.
As she's walking in that hot spring.
I'm wanting to say you get some side boob from her.
Yeah.
During their love-making scene.
Oh,
but
yeah.
There's a whole...
It's very little.
There's even a whole orgy scene where you don't see anything except maybe a couple of butts.
I forgot about the orgy scene.
Yeah, and then like that's all you see, and I'm okay with this. Like, you don't need gratuitous nudity in a fucking movie.
Here was the thing, though, and this is, they didn't overdo the nudity.
Yeah,
it was so well placed.
It wasn't.
It was tasteful.
Exactly, it
Even
wasn't
the
tasteless.
Scene,
yeah,
and this really,
because that's what you know. What nudity tells me? It says, "Oh, it's going to put asses in the seats."
Right.
And I
Even
hate
like
that,
the
man.
scene where Anya Taylor-Joy like reaches down when she's on her cycle.
Oh, dude.
And she,
that
like,
part
rubs
was
her. She
fucking dude. I about dropped my jaw on that part.
Herself, gets blood all over her hand, and then wipes it on.
Which is fucking
face.
gritty, dude. Like.
But it was so well done, even though it alluded to exactly what she was doing. It was so well done and so well placed. It wasn't It wasn't overtly like, oh, this is absolutely disgusting, or it was very well placed and well done.
I think with the angle and the distance,
correct,
between her and the camera was good because it wasn't like a close up shot of her.
Yeah.
And then like a shot of her area, her no square, as my kids would put it.
Her no square.
And like she just like pulls up her shit, like you can see it, plain as day, but it's like not overly done, and she just takes it and smears it on his face.
It was dark enough in the scene.
Yeah.
It alluded to what was going on and what she was doing without being like, here's my...
Yeah, exactly. So
sorry, no square.
Yeah,
YouTube,
her no square.
YouTube, no square. Pretend square. Yeah.
Anyway, so
L7 weenie.
It doesn't get overly...
No.
It doesn't get overly graphic, and I like that because that was something
wild. To me, it was wild that a rated R movie had less nudity and sexual scenes than a Netflix special.
Yeah.
The Last Kingdom. There's so many sexual scenes where you see him butt naked or alluding to having sex and things like that, and I'm like, very tastefully done.
And that's the sad part is like there aren't a lot of shows and movies that do that anymore. I know, like Game of Thrones, the first season, it's just chock full of nudity.
God, it's
And it was
central.
Yeah, especially for the first season. And it was to try to get people to watch the show.
Oh, yeah.
I understand what it's for. But after that, essentially, there's not a lot of nudity in the show because unless it's necessary, I think they feel like, you know what I mean? It adds something to the scene. And even towards the fourth season, even, what's-her-face, Amelia Clark said, I don't want to do any more nude scenes. And I think they got her to do one more or something after that. And they have essentially agreed to it and even gave her more money. Like, at this point, we've established a great story and the characters and everything. Why would we need to do this?
Right.
So, and I think that in this case, the fact that there was no nudity there was very little nudity.
Yeah.
I would call it essentially for the movie partial nudity. Because you don't see any like straight up full frontal anything stupid like that.
Nope.
Because it's not necessary. You don't need to see that stuff.
You see what? His ass, her ass, maybe a little bit of side boob.
Oh, you also see Fieldner's ass. Which, by the way, that dude is ripped. Yeah, dude is built, dude.
He's built, yeah.
Like, I knew Alexander Skarsgård was built, but I didn't know the uncle was built. Fuck, dude. He's fucking ripped. But anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that's really about it.
Yeah,
and they're super short. They weren't like I said, nothing
about
about it was overtly like over
it was
the
in
top
there.
sexual.
If it was in there, it was in there for a reason. Except for, I'm sure that there's reasoning behind the whole battle between the two of them at the end, and they're naked. I'm sure there's a reason for it, but
I think berserkers tended to fight nude.
Yeah, but why is his uncle nude?
Well, his uncle would have been a berserker too.
Would he?
Yeah.
It was wild, though. I mean,
I don't know. That's what I'm guessing. Hell, I don't know.
Whenever the fight scenes in this movie, dude, whenever they did them very, very well.
Yes.
Like, they didn't fuck around. They were bloody, but not overly bloody. Like, they were bloody in a really, really just a realistic manner. The one scene where the dude came in and he's like got his gut cut open and he just opens and his guts fall out. And you're like, dude. Like, that was the goriest part, I would say.
Oh, I don't know.
That was the goriest part. Like,
I don't know. The one where he fucking pinned all those guys to the wall.
Ooh. Yeah, but you didn't see that, though. That was just like...
You didn't see him pinned to the wall. Well, you didn't see him get pinned to the wall. You did see them pinned to the wall.
Yeah, it was like a bunch of body parts pinned to the wall, but you didn't see that happen. I'm saying, like, that dude walked in, opened his hands up, and just his guts fell out. You know what I mean? Like,
gross.
It was awesome.
It was awesome.
It was awesome. But, yeah, so... I would say that the movie itself, if you are a man, you have testosterone, and your penis still works, you're gonna want to watch this movie.
Yeah.
So
I also will change my score now.
What? Now that you've talked about it?
Usually
when you talk about a movie, you're like, "Holy fuck, you're making it better for me."
I am only changing my score because the one thing
that was pissing you off was
pissed me off so much because I couldn't figure it out. I will give it a solid 9.
A solid 9. See, he's up there with me now. He agrees
because I figured that part out. Because now it all adds up. That was that one thing. Remember, I even said walking out. I said there's just one thing. I can't figure it out. It's fucking annoying. I feel like they didn't take enough time. But now I realize you don't have to take the time. That it's literally just a spirit animal.
Yeah,
because the way it shows
that was one of my favorite things about the movie was they didn't go through and just like they weren't like holding your hand through the movie. They were like, there was shit in there that if you don't know anything about Norse mythology, you might be a little confused.
Yeah.
So if you go into the movie and watch the movie,
you're gonna be pretty confused.
Yeah, I think that, and honestly, I think that's the only thing that's going to drive the movie down.
Yeah.
Is the fact that people are going to go into this movie thinking. Well, they didn't explain this to me, so I don't like it. Well, fucking learn yourself some shit, you know? Yeah. The internet is right there at your fingertips.
Dude, everything else was so realistic. The altars to Freya, the altars to Odin.
Mm-hmm. They're all
realistic. The human sacrifice that happened.
They're very accurate. Yeah.
Well, it was stopped before there was a human sacrifice in the movie, but had it happened, that was very realistic. Like, everything was super, like, to what we know, which was awesome. You don't get that very often.
And I'll tell you right now, this is what the movie itself, it's doing well. It's doing very well for what it is.
Rotten Tomato score's bullshit.
The Rotten Tomato score is always bullshit.
No, did you see Rotten Tomato? It's like 96%.
But it's still,
and it's like 67%.
well, the Rotten Tomato score, it's actually it's a certified fresh score. Here, let's look it up real quick. I can't remember exactly what it was.
They're coming out with another Lord of the Rings.
Fuck, I don't know, man. Probably.
Apparently, the War of the Rohirrim.
I don't know. I know they're doing like a series on Amazon or something too.
There it is.
Okay, so it stands at an 89% Rotten Tomatoes. It's a certified fresh score. Audience score is only at 67%, which is really just mind-boggling to me because usually I don't agree with the Rotten Tomatoes score. I think it's bullshit.
Very rare.
So it's rare that I'll agree with it. And in this case, I'm gonna have to agree with it, dude. Like the 67%, not cool with me. I think it's well worth more. And I think that this is where I think that the score is going to go down because people aren't well educated in Norse mythology. They're going to go in confused, like, what the fuck is that thing? Why is that lady flying around on a horse? Well, that's a fucking Valkyrie.
Yeah.
You know, even I didn't know that. I was like, hold on. And then he told me, I was like, oh, yeah, duh, that makes fucking sense. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
he just kind of had to, jog my memory a little bit.
Yeah, I think if you don't know, like, there's going to be some things on there that you're going to be confused with shit, like the Valkyrie. If you don't know what a Valkyrie is,
yeah,
you're going to be super confused because even the
I would have figured it out eventually, but I had to,
Yeah.
like, look at him like, what the fuck is it?
Yeah,
He's like, this is a Valkyrie. He's like, oh, yeah, duh.
Even the uncle alludes to the Valkyries when he looks at...
which is so awesome. I love how they did it, too, like, visually and everything.
Oh, yeah.
She looks like a badass.
Yep.
She's like this albino thing with, like, she's got, like, her teeth are tattooed or something.
Yeah, well, I liked how they did even when they were flying on the Valkyrie.
Yeah.
And they were heading to Asgard.
Yeah, that whole visual.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
Just
dude.
fucking
It's,
mind-boggling.
I know. I was like, that was awesome. Like the way they did it, the kind of how like you're going through the gates.
Yep.
Into maybe Valhalla. I would say probably Valhalla for him.
Well, you go to Asgard first.
Oh, you go to Asgard first. So, shit was awesome. But like, I gotta say,
we're
some of these
Midgard.
We're Midgard.
Yeah. That's where we're at now. Is Midgard. You go to Asgard, and then you would go to one of the halls.
Okay, I gotcha. Okay, so I gotta say the 67%. It's still a decent score, I suppose, but I think that it's not good. Like some of these, like I hate reading reviews because, especially like reviewer reviews, because they're so fucking pretentious. I hate pretentious people, and I hate reviewers for that reason. But I will say that but then you read like some of the actual like people who like regular people can get on obviously on Rotten Tomatoes and review, and some of these people are just like this one's just Christopher B. Hot pile of dog shit. For what fucking reason, dude?
Thanks, Christopher. That's helpful.
Yeah, you're real helpful, buddy. You sound like an idiot.
Amazing spin on Hamlet and the historical genre. Highly, highly recommend. I agree.
That's a good assumption. Yeah, I agree with that. Or like this, I want revenge. I want revenge to get my money back.
Okay, unknown.
Like, yeah, nobody, no name, nothing. Like, who the fuck are you, dude? Like, nobody. Your opinion obviously sucks because you don't even have a good reason. All right, this guy right here, he only gave it 1 star. His name is Arthur W, and he actually wrote a whole fucking paragraph. I hated The Green Knight and this movie. The Northman was. I've never seen The Green Knight. I've thought about watching it, but I could see how this could almost be similar. The Northman was only a little better. It was much too long for a revenge story. Okay, that's stupid. Whatever. The extra Norse mythology only very minutely provided
insight.
Minutely, yeah, to the storyline. There was so much original language used that it was primarily like watching a foreign film. What? No, there wasn't. They rarely used any.
Very, very rare.
Yeah.
Was there any kind of
like
foreign languages?
Okay, so all right, and it could have been forgiven had it not been for the overarching weirdness of the Norse mythology inserts.
Hey, Arthur, hang on. Hey, Arthur, It's a fucking Viking
It's
movie.
a fucking Viking
Guess what
movie, dude.
Vikings tended to be? They were Norse pagans, meaning they believed in, I don't know,
what the fuck did you
gods
want?
like Odin and Freya and Frigg and Tyr.
It's almost like this dude
Thor.
wanted Arnold Schwarzenegger to come walking in with a fucking
Yeah.
Gatling gun, like, make this an action movie. Like, no, dude. It's a,
Overarching weirdness of the Norse mythology inserts, you stupid
just
son
stop
of a
being
bitch.
dumb, man. Don't be dumb. Come on, man. The movie is what it is. It's called The Northman. Like,
One of the most boring movies I've watched in a while. Okay, that's fair. There was definitely some boring parts.
but what is this? This is Meg. I assume a Megan.
Probably.
So it's a woman.
Yeah.
She's, of course, women aren't going to dig this movie.
Correct.
Okay, and then you got
They are gonna
Christina.
tend to
Christina
not.
here gave it a half a star, said it was funny, but don't think it was meant to be. The trailer was better than the actual movie. That is not true. The trailer
I
hyped
didn't
the
find it
movie.
really funny.
Probably because of, like, she's a woman, dude.
Yeah, I mean, there was
Women-
a few scenes that were funny, but overall, I didn't really find anything
She probably
funny
thought,
about it.
just thinking it's funny. I don't. Yeah, how do you find it funny?
I don't know.
I don't know. She's probably She's probably stoned, maybe.
Maybe.
But so, all right. So here's Kyle M. The Northman is really good. Alexander Skarsgård is a literal beast in the film. It's very true.
Very true.
He is a fucking beast.
Scenery's beautiful to look at. Also
Yes,
very
also
true.
very true.
Action
Oh,
is bloody.
we didn't even step on that, dude.
Yeah.
Like some of the shots and some
Oh,
of
yeah.
the places where they filmed some
Yeah.
of this shit, I was like, holy fuck, where is that? I want to
Action
go
is
there.
bloody and brutal.
Very
Yes.
true.
The rest of the amazing cast gives great performances. Absolutely.
Mhm.
I highly recommend. He says if you can see it, go to the Dolby Cinema. Highly recommend. The amplification is just 100 times better.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
would
if-
100% agree with everything he said.
Yeah, if you can watch this with surround sound or in a theater where they have great sound,
Yes.
I recommend. I have a surround sound myself, and my wife's always yelling at me to turn it down because I'm always like, I love feeling my movies, and
You felt that.
yeah, you could feel this, especially with like some of them badass drum
Yeah.
beats that they got going on because obviously this is very supposed to be
Well, I had to run
adrenaline
out.
driven.
I had to run. I ran out during a real slow part,
Yeah,
and to use the restroom.
I think it was
really
during
fast.
the romance scene.
It might have been. I
think it
think
was
so. It
during
was
that.
real slow, and I was like, I'm running to the bathroom real
Yeah,
fast.
you didn't miss much.
And it was like just starting to pick up as I was coming back in, and you could hear it. I mean, you know how movie theaters are.
Mhm.
They block most of the sound from the different, so they don't bleed into each
Yeah,
other.
yeah.
No, I heard that shit all the way in the bathroom. The
Oh, did you?
bathroom was 4 or 5 theaters down.
And it's
I
funny
could
because
still
they're
tell-
playing Sonic next door, the new Sonic movie, and I'm like, I wonder if they can feel this.
right.
They're over there watching Tails and Sonic while we're over here watching Vikings kill each other.
It was great.
So, but I gotta say, and this is something that we didn't even talk about, was like, dude, some of the scenery
The scenery was gorgeous.
was awesome because I'm pretty sure they filmed a lot of it in Iceland. So like you've got like beautiful waterfalls and just like fields of green, man, like in mountains,
I want to
and
move there.
it's gorgeous. Like that scene where they're bathing in that little hot spring,
Oh God.
and you see the waterfall,
waterfall
way in the
behind 'em,
background
yeah.
and everything, and they're like this giant like mountain / hill, and it's just gorgeous, man. You're like, God damn, dude, like
Gorgeous.
what it is to be an actor, to see these things. So I gotta say, I was 100% impressed, and I knew I was gonna like the movie going in. I didn't know if I was gonna love it because I was hyping myself up, and I was afraid of disappointment, and I didn't walk out disappointed. And I gotta say that a 9 out of 10 is a good call. I'm gonna have to disagree with a lot of these people from the audience scores because, for one, most of them sound like idiots. Like they don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. Like, oh, why is there Norse mythology in a movie about Norse mythology? You know what I mean? Like, so I gotta say, but then again, I also hate pretentious ass reviewers. So like this guy right here, a lot of them give him. All right, let's read a negative review from a reviewer. All right, this guy gave it a rotten tomato or whatever. None of the players should be blamed for the uneven historical canvas or the unnecessary length of some scenes, regardless if anyone really is looking to be entertained by stories of this
Ilk.
ilk. I suggest a 1958 spectacle simply called The Vikings. Okay, dude. See what I mean? Pretentious. He gave it a 2.5 out of 5. So, if somebody wanted to go watch something from 1958, then by all means, that's fine. But at the same time, dude, this isn't 1958. This is 2022. And, I'm sure whoever directed your 1958 The Vikings is probably dead now. So maybe you should stop being a bitch and move up with the times. I don't know. Here's another one. Another reviewer gave it. This guy is Thomas Stoneham Judge. I don't know, whatever. He's apparently from For Real Movie News and Reviews. He gave it a 2 out of 5. Though the film narrowly avoids being a contrived blockbuster, it still is not refined enough to exhibit the kind of storytelling prowess that Eggers is capable of. That's bullshit because honestly, this is my favorite one of Eggers' movies.
That was a good story.
It was a great story. I mean, yeah, it's an overplayed story. The whole story of Hamlet.
Yeah.
It's been done. It's been done 100 times in movies and even in books and hell, even comic books. And it's been done. But you know what? It's one of those stories that'll never die because it's a story of revenge and love and loss and things of that sort. And it does well. I mean,
I said everybody loves stories of love, revenge, and revenge.
Look at The Count of Monte Cristo. It's a story that can be told over and over again, and every time will continue to entertain you.
Yep.
Just I don't know. I don't even know what to say at that point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but anyway, so we're gonna stop with the reviews there. I just gotta say, I highly recommend the movie. If you can watch it in a home theater or in a theater, or if you have a theater system of some kind set up, I highly recommend it. Do not watch with your children.
No.
This is not child-friendly viewing. Honestly, the best way I think to watch this movie is a bunch of dudes get together, drink some beers, and watch this fucking movie.
I would agree.
It's not really for women unless women are into this stuff. Some women are, don't get me wrong. But like your typical, like my wife, she'd probably watch it, but she wouldn't get into it. She'd be like, yeah, it was okay. That's what she would say.
No, I think you're dead on. Like, I don't believe the average woman is going to be like, yeah, it's an awesome movie. They're going to be like, eh.
Yeah, it was okay. That's what she would say.
A lot of guys are going to be like, hell yeah, because it's very much...
It's very much a movie for men. It's very much a movie for men.
It strikes all the things that most men like.
Mm-hmm.
Action, violence.
Some of the slower parts, maybe not so much, but I tell you what, though, those are what drives the story, too. You have to drive a story, because without the story, it's just a movie. It's just an action movie. I'm going to say 9 out of 10. You're giving it a 9 out of 10? 9 out of 10. And that pretty much ends it for me. I'm going to try to do more movie reviews. I'm going to try to get to the theater more to do more of these. I have to have somebody to do them with because it's easier to bounce off of somebody with those kind of things. This is why I pretty much stole Zach away today from working on his truck to come to the theater to watch it with me.
Yeah, you did.
So I kind of we caught the matinee, which honestly I love matinees because you still have a day when you get out of the theater and stuff.
And it was only $5.
It's only $5, man. I didn't realize. I thought it was gonna be at least 10.
So did I.
I was like, it's 10. Like
$5.75.
I was like, hell yeah. Hell, I
spent more on fucking
bought nachos and a drink, and it was like $10 or $15.
$12.
Yeah, I was like, Jesus, man. Like my ticket was cheaper than this. So anyway, I'm gonna try to do more of that and keep the reviews coming. But it's not gonna be like every fucking movie that comes out every week. It's gonna be movies that more than likely just interest me. They're nerdy. They're horror movies, things like that. And this movie, I was pretty excited for. I really wanted to see. And so I don't know what I'll be doing next. I think that I'm not sure what's coming out next. I know I would like to do one probably on Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. That one looks really good. And it's directed by Sam Raimi, who did the Evil Dead movies, and he also did the original 3 Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire. Drag Me to Hell. He's very much a horror movie and actually a Three Stooges fanatic. But I'm hoping I better get a. I'm hearing we get a cameo from Bruce Campbell, the man himself. Hail to the King, baby. So I'm hoping that we get a cameo. I heard that there's going to be a version of Doctor Strange played by him, which would be awesome.
That'd be interesting.
It would be well, it's through these multiverses, so
Yeah.
that would be cool. I'm okay with that. So I don't know if that'll be.
No one else plays Deadpool.
I hear that I keep hearing rumors of a Deadpool cameo though in the movie.
That's okay as long as
Yeah.
it's Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, it's going to be Ryan Reynolds, of course.
No
Nobody
one
else is.
like literally no one else. Like, hey, I don't care. Multiverse, like anyone else can play anybody else.
Well,
I'm
it's
not
already
gonna
been
care.
confirmed that Patrick Stewart's going to be in it. So as Xavier, he's Professor Xavier. You know Patrick Stewart from the
Yeah,
X-Men.
no, I know. I can see
Well,
that.
I think they're trying to segue and bring in the X-Men. Anyway, so as usual, you guys know what to do. Like, share, subscribe, and leave us a few comments. Let us know what you thought of the movie, if you've seen it, or if you're going to see it. Hell, give us your ratings on 1 out of 10. Like I said, ours, I give it a strong 9 for sure, all day. And I'll probably, I got to say, this is probably one that I'll want to buy on Blu-ray. I don't buy a lot of Blu-rays anymore, but I will be buying this one. And I also, if you, I don't have a lot of subscribers, so if you would please share and tell your friends to subscribe. That'd be really, really cool. I'm tired of, I almost get tired of saying it in every video. But you have to, I guess.
Pretty much.
Yeah, like, oh, please, like I'm down on my knees. Please like and share and subscribe. Anyway, I'm Bonsai. That's Zach. Peace.